what the journey from this is a thing that I'm doing because I have to do it every day to this is a thing that I want to do and I think it has viability for my professional life long term was like. So opening that to the floor.
Looking at me.
Wow.
Closest to me. I know. Oh my goodness, I should have traded places here. Wow. I think that for me, when I was in college and was doing creative things, volunteering, doing internships, I thought about the fashion industry and the fact that they love internships, don't they? They want you to be there for years and years and years, and even when you get a position, sometimes it's a little stagnant and it's kind of hard to crawl up the corporate ladder. So I wanted to expedite that process. So upon graduation, I said, hey, I'm going to take a leap of faith, not that much in savings or anything, and kind of create opportunities for myself and make myself climb up my own corporate ladder. So I think, does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
For sure. Does anybody else have any weigh in on that?
Yeah, I mean, I majored in language, so French and Arabic, and I thought I was going to be a translator. And then I was taking an internship in the field, and I hated it. It was so boring. I was like, get me out of here. So I actually, went on Craigslist and was kind of looking around at kind of job sites and got an internship at WWD, and that's kind of how I figured out, okay, people actually work in fashion, and I can do it. So then when I graduated, I actually ended up taking an internship, and that turned into my first job. So it is definitely possible to do what you love, especially you guys. You guys have all these sites, and on Twitter and Facebook, like you guys can definitely find what you want, which is something I think when we were probably starting out, we did it. So you should definitely like leverage your passion and like just Google it and like figure out what you want to do.
Yeah. It's easy. That part of it, I think, it just made, because of technology, it's made it so much easier for you guys to find out your passions, what you want to do, and learn from other people's mistakes. So I think you should really take advantage of that. But for me, I used to, again, be a dancer. I was actually, it's part of my journey. It's part of my journey. I actually owned a dance company in New Jersey called Fresh, and I used to, I was on America's Best Dance Girl on TV. And then finding out what the reality of Hollywood life was like, I didn't like it. So it fell out of my passion at dance. I came home back to Jersey and I was like, what the hell am I gonna do with my life? And then I ended up just starting working at J. Crew. That's really just how it started, and I realized I had a passion for making people feel really good about themselves and what they look like in their clothing. And then I feel like once you find yourself in your passion and you love it and you do what you love, not because of the money, but because you love it, people see that and get attracted to that. Because after a year of working there, I got poached for Saks Fifth Avenue. After working at Saks Fifth Avenue, became a personal shopper at Saks Fifth Avenue. After that, a stylist that I was working with consistently was like, I don't think I can live my life without you, so you're gonna have to work for me. So I was like, oh, that's great. And so her name is Dale Sudikoff, and she owns that styling from Dale Style, and so I went under her wing. I now run the New York branch, and she runs the Austin branch. So she has a lot of faith in me to do that. And also I learned so much from her, and I think that's a big thing. I know that's probably not the advice part right now, but my biggest advice is just learn from your mentors and learn from the people above you, because it is invaluable. It teaches you more than school level. So
I think to build a little bit on that too, with another question about finding the right mentors and being in the right place at the right time. I know in my own experience, what climbing the ladder that I've created for myself has been contingent upon is the people that I've met. And sometimes it's really just about like, oh, I know this person and I maintain a relationship with this person, and it may not have any right now benefit, but 5 years from now it could. So does anybody have any thoughts about a person or a certain experience or a thing that's happened that they didn't know it at the time, but became kind of a foundation to, oh, this could actually be my job. Someone who's directly influenced you into making your inkling of what you love into a reality every day.
I mean, my roommate actually used to be my boss. We're really good friends now, but the first site I started working for, writing for, which was just a blog, and it was for no pay. You know, she was kind of mentoring me and kind of giving me really great feedback and criticism. And we ended up, you know, every site she went to, she was like, okay, I need a writer, like, you know, I'm gonna hire you. And, you know, years later, like, you know, we've been living together for a couple of years and, you know, she writes for Elle.com. So even now, like, I'll go upstairs and be like, read this piece before I submit it. You know what I mean? It's just keeping those connections. And even when you do an internship, you know, when I worked at WWD, I'll still see like my accessories editor like around Fashion Week or wherever, and she remembers me. And it's about like really keeping in touch, about really like expressing your gratitude and showing them that thank you so much for, you know, teaching me where I am now, and also just letting them know that you're always interested. Like if you keep in touch with people and are always kind, you know, you will definitely keep those connections for the rest of your life, and they can lead to jobs, they can lead to projects, they can, you know, lead to so many different things. So always make sure to kind of foster your relationships as you're kind of moving up.
Definitely. And not reaching out just when you need something is key. And it's something that takes a long time to learn post-grad, but you check in when somebody has a new baby. You don't check in when you're like, crap, I don't have anything to do this week and I'm looking for work.
I think coming from the retail background, also working at Saks, you learn a lot of that relationship building. You know, it's with your clients that you have there. You know, yes, at the end of the day, they're dollars in your pocket, but first and foremost, they're human beings and people. So you just have to always consistently remember that people are human and they have their things going on, and they have, you know, and it's up to you to really honestly just intentionally care about them, you know, and I think that's why what has helped me so much is because I didn't look at my clients as dollar bills. I looked at my clients as, okay, this is a woman who just got out of her pregnancy and she doesn't feel good about her body, so how are we going to help her make her feel good about her body? And I think that's a large part of it, is just helping those people and building those relationships. So.
I think in reference to some of you all trying to look for a mentor right now, I think it's really important that you all kind of network, go get outside of your comfort zone. Everyone's not at LIM, you know, go to events, look up Eventbrite, what's going on. And also, I say avoid e-news and all of that. Look at CNN, because you have to interact with these people and have conversations, and if they're a mentor, sometimes they're a senior, most times they will be, and they're not only wanting to talk about trends and things, they want to know what's going on now. So be engaging and personable, and you'll have that spark. And they'll believe in you and you'll believe in them to help grow you. I have to say personally, my mom's my mentor. So she's been an entrepreneur all of my adult life. So I never even thought about entrepreneurship. She was the one who believed in me. I didn't even believe in myself to do it. So I was going to get a job like everybody else, and she was like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to, you know, face your fears and learn how to be self-employed. So, but if you don't have that mom, which I think parents for most of us are mentor in one way and then the other, maybe it's personally but not professionally, you can find that superior mom or dad to help, you know, grow you in the professional capacity of your careers.
So there's the support from the people who believe in you element of it, and then there's the support in the bank account part of it. So obviously part of having the side hustle is just sort of based in the idea that it's on the side. You're doing something else that is supporting you. So you guys were trying to figure out, okay, can I really make this work financially? Did you have to do what sacrifices maybe were made? What changes to spending habits? What, you know, financial decisions long term, even if it was, I'm keeping this job that is kind of boring in order to feed my dream, did you make? And do you continue to make?
I think for me, because I started in retail, it's funny because retail helped feed my personal styling. So the clients that I built and relationships I built for my retail job, they actually follow me into my personal styling job. So for me, it's actually a win-win situation having a full-time job at like a store and then being able to be like, look, I can do more for you. So I think for me it helps. So I don't necessarily think you have to stop doing what you're doing. I firmly believe that, especially in New York City, you can have two jobs, and we all do. So and I think because of that, because I like realized like, oh shit, I can do this. I'm sorry. Oh snap! I can do this. I can do this. I think my bank account has been better for good for the better. So.
Yeah, I mean, with me, so my day job is I work on Victoria's Secret's website. So writing really is like my side hustle. It's become bigger than I ever imagined, and I want to continue growing it. But having that stability of having a corporate job is priceless. It's not for everyone. Both of my roommates are actually writers, so I see the struggle that they go through day in and day out. But for what I would say for me, the biggest thing that they don't talk to you about being a freelancer are taxes. It's really nice to get the little freelance check you get every week, but everything you do has to be taxed, and you will get to April 15th and be like, what just happened? Yeah, it's cute during the year, and it's not cute on April 15th. So definitely keep that in mind, that you have to pay the government. You cannot get around that. It's
Trust me,
not
I tried, and it did not work. I was like, I didn't do that. And they're like, yes, you did.
Yes, you did. And they see it, and they will find it, and they will take your money, okay? So like, remember the taxing part. Even if you have a great corporate job that is giving you that stability, remember your taxes in the long run, because you have to give it back.
Just to interject briefly, one of the things that as you do freelance, setting aside a third of that throughout the year is a good thing to just do. Set up a separate account, put it in. If you don't end up using all of it, that's fine, but it really is about what it amounts to, and you're better off dealing with it consistently and creating that schedule for yourself than finding yourself on April 15th being like, oh, I don't write a check.
Yeah, like have an account where the money goes and you don't see it, you can't touch it, like make it hard for yourself.
Yeah.
So that, when it comes to having to pay it, like you don't have an issue, because they don't tell you that. So I'm telling them.
I think my advice as far as hustling, both having your job and then your passion, is I always believe do what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do. So, if you're working at Starbucks, there's a season for all of us. I still do pro bono projects because we're all trying to build our, careers, our portfolios, so I believe in, just doing what you have to do so that you can do what you want to do. And then I also believe in knowing your value, your worth, so that you know that you can monetize this thing. That it doesn't have to just be a hobby. It doesn't have to just be, something that you're doing for fun, that you're here to make it a career. But I think it comes from within first, knowing that, okay, I can charge this. And what I do is great. If you get a compliment once and then twice, okay, third time, let's talk about fees. So, it's okay to prove your worth. Like, okay, I can show you what I can do. And if you like it and you want it again, then let's talk numbers, and having that confidence and boldness to do that. And you can do that in the infant stages, because they realize that it costs money, and your time is worth money, your labor is worth money. And just finding that worth, and I think Googling, kind of finding someone comparable to see what those numbers are in your field, to know what to charge is something that you can do as well.
And it's easier nowadays to do that.
Yeah.
There's so many sites that show you salaries of what the averages are, so
Right.
do not be afraid to use it.
Yeah. And I still look that stuff up. Like, I still want to know, like, okay, I've been writing for this site for a year. Maybe I deserve a raise. Like, let me put together a proposal. Like, I think until you are at the end of your working career, like, you're always going to want more money. So, like, remember the things you do. Always write it down. Always take screenshots, keep the examples, because those are going to help you, have that leverage for when you want to ask for more eventually.
I think one thing that I do sometimes, and I do this probably monthly, is I call around. So if I'm an aspiring stylist, let's say, I'll call a stylist. So what do your services cost? Someone who's comparable on my level, so that I can hear, okay, so if they're charging that now and I've seen their portfolio, looks okay. A little better. Then I up it a little bit, 20% or so, So, hey, call around, be the client, and see what they say.
Has anyone ever had an issue where they've had maybe a disagreement around the value of the services that you've put forth, and you have to have a tough talk about, like, no, actually, I get paid, because that's part of the issue with freelance. I know in my own life, I have retainer income that I depend upon, which is the stuff that, you bill consistently and you know it gets paid out every 2 weeks, and then maybe 50% of my income is reliant upon, oh, I picked up this extra story, or I landed this print contract, or whatever. But we all have that client who has said, like, well, I don't think you did X, Y, or Z, and so I'm not gonna pay you, or they just don't talk about it. How do you guys handle that?
One thing, I think it's great to be hungry, but it's not okay to be desperate. So you have to know your worth. I'm going to talk about worth a lot because these are lessons I've had to learn. So you have to know who you are, and they're going to challenge you, and it's going to be a little bit of a tug of war, but you have to stick to your guns. And if it's not worth it where it's going to add significant value to your portfolio, I say pass, because they'll respect you for it, and maybe next week when that extra check comes in, they'll apply it towards your services, you know, and they'll realize how valuable you are. And reference, I don't believe in confrontation when it comes to that dialogue, but there are strategic ways that you can communicate. You know, I provide excellent services, and hopefully maybe it's a repeat client, or maybe you gave them a discount before and now you're like, oh, the rates increased just a tad, you know, but to say, you know, it's cost me a little bit more, you know, to provide these services, and I don't know, you came to an awakening and you deserve more. And, but to, you know, be transparent with that person. They have expenses, but they have to realize that you have expenses too. And you can't just break even. You've got to profit in order to grow. So I think that's my advice.
I think for me, especially as a stylist, you're working with individuals who have their own individual budgets. It's not company budgets or corporate budgets. Sometimes it is, and those are nice. But what I do with is mostly personal. I think the initial discussion always has to be about the budget. What is your budget? And they will walk around it like it's their day job. Like, I like this pink blouse, yeah, but what's your budget? But I like that white pant, but what's your budget? So you have to set that budget first up front, and because it's an awkward number to talk about, but it's the honest and only number you can work with. So if someone is saying, oh my god, yeah, I love like Comenza, and I love like Actress, and I was like, okay, my budget's $2,000. Girl, that $2,000 can get you one jacket. So you have to be realistic with your client, you have to be realistic with yourself, and know what you can provide them. I've stretched that budget. I went to Century 20. I go above and beyond for my clients, but you have to be honest and upfront. I think the post, if they have an argument or a disagreement with you, post that and say, oh, you didn't do the job. Keep a damn paper trail. Keep all your receipts, keep all the emails, keep all the discussions, because those will save you at the end and say, no, you said this, you know, and obviously say it in a nice way. Yeah. But no, you said this, and this is why I did this. And I always come up with a summary at the end for all my clients and say, these are the things that I did for you, you know, and then so you can go back intelligently with proof and evidence and say, this is what happened. And sometimes I was wrong. Sometimes like, I forgot about that. I'm so sorry. And you own it. You just say, I'm sorry. Let me take the extra 5 hours to do that for you, and let me fix it. You know. And usually, all clients want at the end of the day is an answer. They just want a solution, and that's what we are, problem solvers. So that's all you have to think about. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And I mean, I definitely say proof and documentation. You know, definitely have a template, a contract that's a template, and always make sure someone signs and agrees upon something. A lot of fashion is like spoken word, and oh, I want you to write for my site. Oh, start writing. Oh, here's my WordPress, and before you know it, you're like, where's my money? You know, like a couple of fashion seasons ago, I did like over 50 reviews for a site. And you know, had a contract and still to this day have not been paid. So gone through claims court, gone through a lot of different stuff because some people aren't honest, probably with their budget, but the fact that they have money at all. And I see this person on Instagram traveling to Russia and all this stuff, and I'm like, where's my money? So you know, you just really have to have the documentation, make people sign and say, you know, if you don't want to sign this for me, I can't help you. When you write for a lot of, you know, bigger sites that are linked to publications, they already have a freelance contract, and that's great, but you need it for yourself, because once you start branching out, like, people aren't always as organized as you think. So make sure you get it in writing, and just keep track of it, because you definitely deserve to be paid If you're doing the work, someone should be, giving you money for your services. So don't ever be afraid to say like, hey, just checking in, you know what I mean? Or go through whatever kind of things you need to go through to get your pay, because you definitely deserve it. And once you get to a certain point, you should not be working for free anymore, unless you actually want to. So.
I think, one big thing for me is clarify everything.
Yeah.
Do not be afraid to ask questions. Do not be afraid to, get exact answers from people. Because I've learned that in the past where it's like, oh yeah, this will happen. Be like, no, I would like to, let's get it on paper and let's clarify exactly what you want and what is needed and how I'm going to get paid and everything to the T. Because you don't want to end up at the end waiting a year and a half for a paycheck, which is, Lord Jesus, I just got my paycheck from that moment. And you know what I mean? Like, you don't want to do that because you just never know. So always get that.
I think in just following up on this clarify thing, even when you're having conversations, I literally hang up the phone as per our conversation just 2 seconds ago. We said we're doing this, that, and the other, so the paper trail part is absolutely, yeah, she's right. And, clarifying is so key. So I just say, recap conversations, verbal agreements, everything. And if you're dealing with someone electronically, please reply your name with an electronic acceptance of these agreements.
There's an app where you can make a document and have them sign it.
E-sign.
Yeah.
Yes.
E-sign it.
We have
That's
silence
a
now. There's no reason why they can't sign.
Yeah.
And therefore, but I have just like her experience where a major TV network, they haven't paid me to this day. And I'm like, you guys are doing award shows. But sometimes they try to, take advantage of the smaller person. So you really do have to have your systems in place. And I say, just be careful. When it comes to doing projects, and don't just assume, oh, I don't have to write a contract because they're so-and-so. No. Make sure you cross all your T's and dot your I's.
All those corporations are the worst.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
and not to speak badly about my clients, but it's not the client, it's the accounting office.
Yeah.
So you just need to know who the hell is in that office.
And they're paying a lot of people.
They are,
so, and sometimes I think that you're just not a priority. I hate to say that. Or maybe they are trying to bamboozle you and just get over.
There's also lots of paperwork. Things just get slid under the door and you lose it. So just stay on top of it.
Yeah.